What is up, everybody? Clint Esposito here for number 7 of the Skull and Bros show with my bro, Rasmus. What's going on, Rasmus?
Not much, not much. I'm all good. How are you?
Very good. Just getting Monday rolling with a little bit of conspiracy.
That's the best way to start it, man. How can you not?
Yeah, you might as well start with stuff that we don't know is true.
Yeah, yeah, for sure. Dude, I wanted to tell you something. It has nothing to do with the what we're gonna talk about. But last, when was it? You can see I'm kind of freshly like I don't have my beard
Oh,
anymore.
yeah.
So I'm putting my oldest son to bed at night, and I walked down when he fell asleep. I walked down and my we have a gas grill, like one of them what's it called? Weber?
Yeah, Weber.
Yeah, Weber, yeah. A fat one, like a really big one.
Uh,
And I walk downstairs and my wife, she's like, "Hey, I can't get the grill to work." So I walk out and I open it up. Because I was like, "How stupid are you? How can you not get it to work?" Like it's
uh-huh.
super easy. Just turn the gas, on and just press ignite. Like
Yep.
it's fine. So I open the thing and I press ignite and it was so dumb. It was my like I should have known it was full of gas,
Yeah.
obviously. It was fucking obvious, but I got burn marks on my arm and
Wow.
my whole beard just half of it just burned off. I'm
Oh my
happy I still have
God.
my hair and my eyebrows, man. It just blew up in my face. It was like one of those YouTube videos of
Yeah.
people fuck up. It was I was not good, man.
Um, you're lucky you didn't lose your eyebrow because they're a pain in the ass. I lost,
Yeah.
so you see this scar?
Yeah.
So I split that eyebrow open. They covered it with glue. They didn't like stitch it, they just glued it back
Oh yeah.
together. And then,
Yeah.
like a week later, the glue pulled my whole eyebrow off. And then I
Oh
had one
no.
eyebrow for like 3 weeks. Like it takes a really long time for eyebrows to
Yeah,
grow
that
back.
one those ones suck. I'm so happy I got my eyebrows. They're here. My hair is okay.
Uh,
But yeah, damn, I wasn't ready for it. I was just kind of like, I was like, how hard is it? And I just opened
yeah,
it and pressed it without thinking. And I was like, that was the dumbest thing I could have done.
that's
Yeah.
hilarious.
It's just funny.
All right, so
All right.
today we're going over Event 201, which I had heard about it, but I wasn't. When you guys brought it up, I was like, what is that again?
Yeah.
So, this training tabletop exercise is based on a fictional scenario. Inputs experts used for modeling the potential impact were fictional. It is a teaching and training resource for public health and government officials. Now, that sounds good, right? But when did they start doing this? What year was this?
2019, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, I was going to say.
In
Oh,
like
yeah. Friday, October 18th,
yeah.
2019,
Yeah.
which sounds really close to the exact actual scenario happening.
Yeah, it's sketchy, man. That's like you write a wish list for Santa Claus in August, and then he shows up in December. It's like,
Yeah.
yeah,
And you
as
never even
expected.
sent it out.
Yeah,
You just
he
wrote a
just knew.
list in your house. And you're like, oh, look,
Yeah,
he
it is
knew.
it is weird. Like it could be coincidence, right? It could be.
It could
Um,
be.
yeah, that's not what I think, but it could be. I've been wrong before.
It's happened once or twice.
Yeah.
The John Hopkins Center for Health Security in partnership with World Economic Forum and the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation. Sounds like all very good, trustworthy organizations.
Of course. Yeah, of
Uh,
course.
they hosted Event 201, a high level pandemic exercise on October 18th, 2019, in New York. The exercise illustrated areas where public private partnerships will be necessary during the response to a severe pandemic in order to diminish large-scale economic and social consequences. Oh, societal, which I feel like we did not do a good job of mitigating any of those things.
Oh hell no. But that's what's so funny. I was just watching one of the videos from that thing,
Mm-hmm.
uh, where they go through like what would happen and what would be
Right.
and they go, it's exactly what happened. Exactly. With the economy and with everything.
Yeah, I watched probably the same thing. It's like 11 minutes.
Yeah, that's the one. Yeah.
Yeah, and they're
Yeah.
like the travel would shut down. You know, like airlines would lose 40% of their whatever. Like
Yeah.
everything that they said was very specific.
Yeah.
Uh, what the hell was the other one? They said something else, and I'm like, this is verbatim exactly what happened.
Yeah.
The purpose. In recent years, the world has seen a growing number of epidemic events amounting to approximately 200 events annually. 200 events annually that we're not freaking out about, mind you.
But what's the definition of an epidemic versus a pandemic?
That's a good question.
Because I think that's why we're not freaking out. If it's just an epidemic, it's not as bad, I guess.
Let me see. The events are increasing and they are disruptive to health, economics, and society. Managing these events already strains global capacity, even absent a pandemic threat. Experts agreed that it's only a matter of time before one of these epidemics becomes global, a pandemic with potentially
Um,
catastrophic consequences. Well, let's see what epidemic is.
well, it sounds to me like an epidemic would be more local, and then a pandemic is when it spreads to everywhere.
How about, did I spell it wrong?
But by the way, I don't know if we're live on YouTube because I can't get it. It says it's waiting. I don't know.
Really?
Yeah.
Um, yeah, let's see if we're on. It's not even on whatchamacallit, Rumble either.
Rumble? No?
Well, we're recording, so
Yeah, that's fine.
this shit is annoying. So nobody's commenting because it's not
Yeah.
live.
Uh,
Epidemic.
I'm Miss Ryan and Bob's cat.
Yeah. All right, there we go. I spelt it wrong. Epidemic. Spreading rapidly and extensively by infection and affecting many individuals in an area or population at the same time. There you go.
So it's like what I said, it's more local.
Exactly. And then a
But what
pan.
about when they call obesity a epidemic?
Hmm.
Because that doesn't spread like, well, it
Yeah.
kind of does, but it's not the same like a
Spreading
virus or something.
rapidly and extensively by infection and affecting many individuals. Yeah, it doesn't sound like obesity is an epidemic because you're not spreading it.
Yeah, I guess. Well, they kind of are, but
An epidemic is the rapid spread of disease to a large number of hosts in a given population within a short period of time.
yeah.
Well, that's weird. So it doesn't really necessarily fit that.
Dude, sorry to interrupt, but I think yeah, there's some people. It says like people are waiting to see it live on YouTube. I was just thinking because
Problem.
Ryan wanted
I
to
know.
see it live. But fuck it, if we can't do it, then it is what it is.
The thing is, it's already says it's streaming.
Uh-huh. Never mind. He can watch it later then.
Yeah, it's like once we
Yeah.
get now I just lost my other page. Once you get streaming or like recording, you'd have to totally redo it to.
Yeah, don't. It doesn't matter.
Here we go. Okay, now a pandemic. As of the 15th of May, a pandemic refers as of the 15th of May 2023. It literally says that on here.
That's today.
It is today. Why
What?
does it say it like that? A pandemic
It-
refers to an outbreak of an infectious disease that has spread across a large region, affecting a substantial number of individuals. The disease must be infectious and not merely widespread or kill many people. Widespread epidemic diseases with a stable number of infected individuals, such as recurrences of seasonal influenza, are generally excluded as they occur simultaneously in large regions of the globe rather than being widespread worldwide. What? COVID-19 is a common virus that can easily spread from person to person, leading to pandemics. This is literally what the summary says. What is a pandemic? Pandemic flu has been the buzzwords of late 2005. When the hell was this written? But how
Isn't that
does the
the swine flu or something?
I, but how does the phrase that's on everyone's lips differ from epidemic? Um, Apparently, a lot of people aren't sure. Merriam-Webster reports that pandemic is the seventh most frequently looked up word in its online dictionary this year. The definition occurring over a wide geographic area and affecting an exceptionally high proportion of the population. This is almost the same as the directory definition of epidemic, and it doesn't explain much when it comes to influenza. An epidemic of
Hmm.
influenza is different from the dreaded pandemic that scientists and the World Health officials fear is nigh. We might see an epidemic of seasonal influenza during any given year. In fact, we had just one. Flu reached epidemic levels in the U.S. for 10 weeks in a row during the 2004-2005 season. Records kept the CDC show that during that week ending March 5th, 2005, 8.9% of all deaths reported in 122 U.S. cities were due to influenza and pneumonia. Nobody freaked out then.
Yeah. And also the flu disappeared in 2020.
Yeah, but that even
Yeah.
this even says, that there was uh this is obviously written in like 2006 or something, because it just keeps
Yeah.
referring to 2004, 2005. But
Yeah.
what the hell was I just uh where does it say? There you go. Records kept by the CD show that during the week ending March 5th, 2005, 8.9% of all deaths reported in 122 U.S. cities. Like, that's weird. Is that every city in the U.S.? Like, why would they say that? Were due to
Yeah. Why
influenza or
120?
pneumonia.
Hmm.
It's like, what is the total out of the whole country, not just 122 cities?
That's kind of funny. They would just pick.
Yeah. What cities?
Yeah, just check the country. Don't they have stats for the US?
You would think so.
Maybe
Um,
that would have deflated the number a lot.
Maybe.
Maybe.
Recommendations. The next severe pandemic will not only cause great illness and loss of life, but could also trigger major cascading economic and social consequences that could contribute greatly to global impact and suffering. The Event 201 pandemic exercise conducted on October 18th 2020 vividly demonstrated a number of these important gaps in pandemic preparedness, as well as some of the elements of the solutions between the public and private sectors that will be needed to fill them. The Johns Hopkins Center for Health Security, World Economic Forum, and Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation jointly proposed these recommendations. Let's see what the recommendations.
Well,
I did see in that video that we were watching, the 11-minute one, where they were even in that, they were like, social media is going to have to realize that they're whatever and not a broadcaster, and they're going to have to limit.
yeah.
Um,
There's talking about misinformation
yeah,
already.
exactly.
Yeah, exactly. Like they knew people gonna wake up
Yeah.
and see the shit, and they're yeah. And I think a big part of the whole, like, I only watched that short one, but I've heard it before, is a big part of their whole 201 thing was how do we control the internet? Like,
Yeah.
how can we control the information that people get?
Yeah, exactly.
It's crazy. But you know what else is kind of crazy? That they did the whole thing. You remember in one of the episodes we talked about how there's Satanists and they have to show you the
Right.
shit they're gonna do before they do it. And this was one of the things where I was like, yeah, that's what they're doing. They're just showing you what's
Yeah.
gonna happen
Yeah,
because they
exactly.
have to, according, you know, the the devil or whoever,
Whoever it
Beelzebub,
is that they're.
Beelzebub or yeah,
The flying spaghetti monster or whatever.
yeah.
Did you ever see that? That was a comedian. I think it was George
Was
Carlin.
it? What did he say?
Well, he was just like, like everybody believes in this. Maybe it wasn't. Somebody they just made like maybe God's a flying spaghetti monster. Like we don't know what
Yeah.
the hell it is.
Yeah.
Um,
But yeah. That whole thing is kind of weird. I had a guy on my other show the other day who was talking about the Big Bang and the
mhm.
evolution of people and stuff. And to me, that shit doesn't make sense either.
It
It's like,
was
how do
just
you know?
smaller than the head of a pin, and then it blew up and made all this matter.
Yeah, and even evolution is kind of weird. Like, I guess it's a good theory, but when they say they have evidence, I don't think that evidence like holds up. Like, how the fuck would you know?
I know there's a
It's just, I don't know. I can't wrap my head around it. Maybe they're right, but it doesn't make much sense to me. Anyways, I don't know. It's weird.
on what the Big Bang or
Well, yeah, that mainly
yeah.
because I'm like, what in that case? Why only like, why is the only place that we know of where there's life is here? Well, if there's a Big Bang and it creates the whole universe, why not? Why is there not life on Mars and on Venus and
But
all these
we're
other
only
fucking
one
places?
universe.
Yeah, that too. Well, I mean, I, do we even know it's only one? They could be multiple, right?
That's what I'm saying. I think they think we're only. Oh, I'm thinking of
Or dimensions? Is
solar
that what you,
system. I don't know. No,
uh,
not
the
dimensions. I thought there were
galaxies?
other. There you go.
Galaxies, yeah. But it's yeah, I don't know. It's just weird, man. I don't know. It because when I was taught that in school, that they taught it to me like as if that was fact.
Yeah, that's what they
I
do with.
never realized it's just a theory. It's not a fact.
Yeah,
I've
that's.
always trusted, all the theories that they tell me because they tell it as if it's fact. But now I'm like, wait, you're just guessing. Like that's just your best guess. Like,
Yeah,
yeah,
most
it's
of
kind of
this
funny.
stuff is.
Yeah.
Even archaeologists, like
Hmm?
there's a huge discrepancy over how long people have had advanced societies, now.
Yeah.
And there's large discrepancies over how long people were actually, around
Alive.
and
Yeah.
sophisticated and built stuff.
Yeah.
You know,
Well,
s
I asked him about that because I said one of the questions I had is like, how do you know, like, for example, the dinosaurs died 66 million years ago.
yeah,
Why not 20 million or 120 million? Like, why 66? And he was like, oh, but we can measure it because of, uh, I guess, radiation
yeah, carbon
moves
dating.
at a constant rate. or something like that. But I was like, you only know that from when you started measuring it to now.
Yeah,
Maybe it moved in a constant rate in the last 200 years,
that's true
but
too.
maybe it didn't do that before. How the fuck do you know?
That's true. Maybe
It's so
the
weird. Like,
maybe the way the atmosphere was, it kind of
yeah, but how
deteriorated radiation faster, like back in the day or something, or slower.
exactly? Like, how do you know?
Well, and that's even the thing with, like, the dinosaurs were so big, right? But they were big
Mhm.
because there was more carbon in the atmosphere. Everything grows
Yeah,
bigger, right? So if there's more carbon in the atmosphere, then your plants grow bigger. If you have bigger plants, then the animals that eat them get bigger.
yeah,
So it's the same thing of saying, even this is like, they're like, dinosaurs are extinct. They are, because I see crocodiles and alligators. I see
yeah.
chickens. I see
Chickens,
fucking
ostriches.
ostriches. Yeah, like rhinos,
Yeah,
elephants. Those friggin' things are dinosaurs, dude. Like, what are we confusing ourselves for?
they are. They're just smaller. Imagine a crocodile that was the size of a T-Rex.
That's
I
my
mean,
point. If it
it's
was
just the
50
size
feet
thing.
long, dude,
Yeah,
all of a sudden it becomes a dinosaur. It's just merely size.
yeah, yeah. I guess that's what they're basing it on. It's just size.
They
But in
have to
that case,
be.
a fucking elephant must be a dinosaur still.
Exactly. That's still a
Yeah,
dinosaur.
yeah,
Back in the day, think about how big they were.
yeah.
They're
Well, maybe an elephant because it's not a reptilian, right? It's not a reptile.
right.
So maybe it's not a dinosaur because a mammoth is not a dinosaur. It's just an old, right?
Huh. That's a
But a
good.
crocodile then would be more along the lines of a dinosaur.
But they think a lot of the dinosaurs had feathers.
Oh yeah, I know. Like a chicken is definitely a dinosaur. I know that for
So
sure. They eat fucking. They would eat us if they were big enough.
that's an interesting statement, though, that what you said, that it's a mammoth, so it's not a, or a mammal, so it's not a dinosaur.
Yeah, so like a saber-toothed tiger is not a dinosaur.
No, you're
It's a
right.
cat, right? It's like a lion but bigger, I
So
guess.
then, how did we? This is the point. How do we differentiate then with dinosaurs? You know what I mean? Being here and not being here. You're like, we don't
Yo,
have the mammoth, but we still have an elephant, which is basically.
dude, this is so interesting because I'm my son who's turning 3. He is like basically a paleontologist. So I'm learning all kinds of shit about dinosaurs. So talking about that, so because if you look at dinosaurs, right, you have I was gonna say, so maybe it's reptilian, reptiles and birds, right?
Right, that's what it seems to be.
Yeah, but if you look at like a brachiosaurus, the long neck one,
Yep.
that doesn't look like a reptile to me.
No.
That looks more like an elephant.
Yeah.
So that looks like but they lay eggs, right?
I don't know. How about a triceratops?
Yeah, that looks like
A
a rhino,
rhino.
right? That's a
It's
rhino.
just a
That is
fucking
a rhino,
rhino.
just bigger.
With
Who
more
fucking knows?
horns.
Yeah, maybe I don't know. I've heard the theory that dinosaurs never existed too. That is fake, like it's a fake thing, but I don't
Well,
know.
but to say that, we know there are fucking animals here and always have been. Like,
Yeah,
why wouldn't we
yeah,
think that they have changed?
yeah. And also, if that's a conspiracy theory, it's almost to me like flat Earth is like, does it change my life? Like, it doesn't fucking matter if they existed or not.
Right.
It's like a moo. It's a moo point. Like, who cares? And if it is fake, then I'm like, thank you for faking it because dinosaurs are fucking interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's like doesn't matter. Anyways, fucking back to the event.
So
I
I have a article pulled up that says, why is Gates denying Event 201?
saw someone said that. Did he deny it, or did he just deny that it was basically planning to create
Um,
a pandemic?
in October 2019, Microsoft founder Bill Gates, who together with his wife runs the richest and most powerful foundation in the world, co organized a simulation exercise on a world worldwide corona pandemic. Videos were posted documenting the exercise, but intriguingly, Gates now denies such an exercise ever took place. Why? On April 1st, 2020, Bill Gates said in an interview to the BBC, "Now here we are. We didn't simulate this. We didn't practice. So both the health policies and the economic policies, we find ourselves in uncharted territory."
What?
This is the
But
same person
how
who's,
can he say that, dude? It's on I'm on that webpage,
yeah,
centerforhealthsecurity.org. Isn't that like a government webpage or something?
yeah. Well, that's what .org is supposed to be. It's supposed to be a organization or a, yeah.
I mean, there's fucking videos of it.
I
How can you
know.
deny something that there's clear, it's obvious that you did it?
This is the same person who just 6 months before the outbreak of the pandemic organized a series of 4 role playing simulations of a corona pandemic with very high ranking participants. Event 201 was a simulation of a corona pandemic conducted by the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation, the World Economic Forum, and Johns Hopkins University. Participants from the private and public sectors were presented with a scenario not unlike the one that has unfolded in reality and discussed what needed to be done. There are official videos of the 4 meetings and a best of video scenario presentation that discusses by the participants who are members of a pandemic control council in the role play. Yeah, watching that video, it's weird because they even have like weird news,
They're
like,
like fake news
yeah, that they made.
reportings.
And I'm like, if this is just for you guys in the a meeting room, what the hell? It's
Why would you
almost
do
like
that?
they needed their script writers to practice.
No. But I mean, if you and me have a meeting about the next podcast we're gonna do, or like, what if we talk about this topic? We don't, and it's just you and me. We don't need to make videos about it. We could just talk about it, right?
Yeah, no, and then we would go, listen, the meeting we had talking about the podcast that we were going to do didn't happen. Okay, we just did the
Yeah,
podcast. This is totally unscripted.
yeah. That's fake news. The meeting is fake news, even though it's on YouTube.
Yeah,
It never
exactly.
happened.
The video on control of public opinion is the most interesting one. This is what we were talking
Yeah.
about, as it helps to put in perspective the efforts in this regard, which we are currently experiencing. One participant tells us that Bill Gates is financing work on algorithms which comb through the information on social media platforms to make sure that people can trust the information that they find there. That sounds like them working on the fact checkers.
Yeah, that's what he was doing. He was talking to nerds, making them build websites for him to fact check
Yeah.
stuff. Yeah.
Um,
It's yeah, it's wild, man. When you look at that video, and I'm sure there's much more. Like that's only a short clip from that thing, but it's wild how they got. That's why I go back to that thing that they have to show you exactly what they're gonna do
yeah. Well,
because they didn't miss a beat. It was all of it was in there.
yeah. Very,
It's nuts.
very. The problem is that most of the things that happen are very, like, there are simulations in place in the same areas. And a lot of these school shootings,
Mhm.
there are like simulations also right in the area that happen to be going over the exact scenario that actually happens in a ton of them.
Oh, so they do that for shootings too.
Yes, it happens a lot. Like, I want
Oh,
to
that's
say
weird.
there was something going on in Sandy Hook. I want to say there was something scheduled for, I forget, there was a couple other ones where they had these same thing, emergency, like, scenarios or whatever, and then stuff ended up happening in the exact same area.
That's so weird. That's so weird.
What would it be called? What was that thing called? A
What one?
like they called it a simulation.
Yeah.
I want to just see if it comes up. School shooting simulation trains teachers for the worst. Let's see where this
But do
happens.
they do that in all schools, or is it like, because it could be that they do it in all schools, and then what you see is just when they did it in that school where the shooting happened.
I don't think that they do.
Hmm. And
Um,
maybe it's like when they do it, they actually what happens is the kids get ideas from it. They get
bro, it's
inspiration from the simulation. They're like, "Hey, that looks fun."
it's like the same week.
What the for real?
Yeah, I wish I could find um I don't even know how you would not simulation. I forget. But we'll go to the next simulation since I can't find that you sent
Yeah.
me. Uh
Oh, you
This is
saw
the
that one,
video
huh?
that Bill Gates put together along with the team, complete with simulated news reports like this. This is really what they're preparing for us. This video is called Get Ready. Watch. Catastrophic contagion, a global challenge.
Officials
Breaking
in
news.
2 Latin American countries alerted the WHO of several outbreaks of a new infectious disease that's mysteriously appearing across the region. Severe epidemic enterovirus respiratory syndrome 2025.
Oh, so that's the name, guys. Just write this down. That'll be the name of it, okay? It's gonna
SEERS.
SEERS. It's going to be called the Severe Epidemic Enterovirus Respiratory Syndrome, and 2025 is when we'll see it, okay? Now, it says at the bottom this is a fictional scenario, but come on. This is the video.
so um you'd
I've
like
got some questions on that.
well that's you'd like to
What?
be like you guys don't
Why would
know.
you? Why would you put a specific year to it?
Well, if you remember, there was footage of Bill Gates even going, Trump is going to face a pandemic.
Oh yeah, yeah. Fauci said it too. I think
Was it him? It might have been Fauci.
it was Fauci. I think maybe Gates too. I'm not sure, but I'm pretty sure Fauci said it. I'm pretty sure actually. Oh, I shouldn't say that. I think Obama said something along those lines. I
Um,
think I'm not sure, but I might be wrong on that. But
Here,
Fauci definitely.
uh,
Dr. Fauci.
no, he's a prophet.
Yeah, yeah. He's a religious leader for sure.
January 11th, 2017. Fauci, no doubt Trump will face surprise infectious disease outbreak.
That's a hilarious statement. Because how the fuck is it a surprise if you
Yeah.
already know what's gonna happen?
Uh,
You idiot.
The director of the National Institute of Allergy and Infectious Disease said there is no doubt Donald J. Trump will be confronted with a surprise infectious disease outbreak during his presidency. Fauci has led the NIAID for more than 3 decades, advising the past 5 United States presidents on global health threats from the early days of the AIDS epidemic in the 1980s through the current Zika virus outbreak. During a forum on pandemic preparedness at Georgetown University, Fauci said the Trump administration will not only be challenged by ongoing global health threats such as influenza and HIV, but also a surprise disease outbreak. The history of the last 32 years, I have been the director of the NIAID. I thought he was head of CDC. What is this other thing that he's also head of?
Yeah, I don't know.
Will tell the next administration that there is no doubt they will be faced with the challenges their predecessors were faced with, he said. While observations have speculated since his election, about how Trump will respond to such challenges. Fauci and other health experts said Tuesday that preventing disease pandemics often starts overseas, and that a proper response means collaboration between not only the U.S. and other countries, but also the public and the private health sectors. We will definitely get surprised in the next few years, he said. Risks have never been higher. He's like, we're making viruses in a lab that could get out. There's never been a higher risk. And the lab doesn't even have good security. So we're really close to this pandemic.
Yeah, it's almost like he was like, dude, we've been fucking with viruses way more now
Yeah.
than ever before.
We just
And
hired
we
new
cut
people.
down on costs, so the security's not so good anymore.
We just hired new people. They have no idea about this protocol. So we're probably going to get a pandemic.
They get no training when they go in there. It's hilarious. And also, like, so for example, let's say in Sweden, if an election is coming up and I'm gonna advise or like speak on things that might happen over the next 4 to 8 years, why would I touch? I guess, well, he's a health guy,
Yeah.
but there are so many things that Donald Trump is gonna face outside of viruses. Like,
No,
but
that's the
yeah, well,
worst.
he's a virus guy, so
Yeah.
obviously that's why. But I never heard anyone ever predict something like that before.
Well, listen to the next little paragraph. Trump, the real estate developer turned Republican politician, has worried some infectious disease experts with controversial and sometimes unclear views on certain health issues. Now, this is 2017, so he'd been in for a year at this point. What conversations did you guys have with him about his controversial, unclear views on health issues?
Yeah. Maybe they saw him eating at McDonald's or something. They're like, he's unhealthy. We can't have this too. But then your health minister over there is we touched on it last time, that fat, the fat she-man.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They're right from PA as well. Ronald Klain, who coordinated the U.S.'s Ebola response for the Obama administration, said Trump's virtual silence about the Zika outbreak and harsh comments about American volunteers infected during the West African Ebola outbreak is not the kind of leadership we need in our next president. Wait, I thought he was in 2016.
He was.
So why does it, maybe that was before? Because it says our next. It doesn't say our current.
Yeah, it must have been earlier. But so what, does it say what Trump said about the Ebola thing?
No, this is my point. That's all it says, is that he just...
Because it's just a private conversation they have with
I
him, like.
guess. I don't know. He didn't address Zika, and they were very upset about that.
Yeah. So everyone watching, look out for, what was it?
Sears.
Sears in 2025.
SEERS.
Yeah. Buy your masks now.
Yeah, exactly. I would just buy a shitload so you can sell these assholes that need more masks once they run out again.
Dude, I know a guy here who he started importing masks in like as soon as the pandemic. He was like keeping track before it hit.
And he made
before it left China. Oh, he made so much money because they ran out of masks so fast that he could like 5x the price.
Yeah.
Because they ran out, and we didn't even have mask mandates, and he still made shit tons of money.
Did you guys have so here they had like news things where it's like teaching people how to make their own face masks?
Nah, we didn't have that.
This literally happened here.
See, this is the funny thing. Like, so our health guy, who would be Sweden's Dr. Fauci, right? He went out in the beginning and said, "There's a lockdown is fucking pointless. That's the dumb thing to do. There's no evidence that it works. Even with masks in the beginning, he was like, they don't work. He was kind of spitting some truth, but then he kind of,
Got drawn to
Yeah.
the dark side.
yeah, but he never went like full dark. And then you started seeing less and less of him on the
Yeah, that
news.
sounds about right.
It's like he kind of disappeared. And he said something that was kind of interesting. He said, in Europe, they had an agreement already what to do if a pandemic hits.
Hmm.
And it was to do exactly what Sweden did. Keep it open. Like, tell people what's going on, but like don't lock down, no crazy stuff. And he said, we are the only country who's following the actual deal we had before.
Yeah. So when it very first started here, they did the exact same thing. They were like, well, you remember there's footage of Fauci being like, masks are just theater. They don't really do anything. They may make you help you feel better, but that's it, and he's like, and also everybody touching stuff and then touching their masks and moving them contaminate themselves.
Yeah.
Then like 3 months later, they're like, everybody's got to get masks. Masks are going to save people. And they're
you
like,
gotta use 2 or 3.
yeah, exactly. You need to double masks. They went from no masks to doubling or tripling masks. And he's like, oh, well, I said that before just so people didn't freak out and buy all the masks on the healthcare workers.
Oh yeah, I remember seeing that.
Yeah.
And people were like, wait, what the fuck? You were holding masks from us?
Yeah.
Because
So this could
they
save
might run out.
people, but we're like, hey, don't do it.
Yeah. Yeah. And then put 2 or 3 on because we really don't want you to have any oxygen in your brain.
So there's a lot. So this is as soon as they started pushing the mask deal, I went and looked up OSHA's. So you guys probably don't have OSHA.
No, we have
You know what it is though.
yeah, what does it stand for again? Do you remember?
No, I'm gonna look it up. It's like something safety, health, or something like that.
And we have something similar here, I'm sure. It's like a government thing, right?
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
I wish I could find out. Occupational Safety and Health Administration.
Oh yeah.
So
Yeah.
for literally the last 40 years, they're like, don't wear masks unless you have very specific things that you're around, and you have
Yeah.
respirators, not just masks. Like you have to actually have something
Yeah.
for the specific thing that you're working around.
Just like if you work with asbestos or some shit, then use a mask. But then there's a real mask, not
Yeah,
fucking
exactly.
yeah. Not a piece of cloth. I saw people walking around with their t-shirts
Well,
like
that's
this.
yeah,
And I'm
dude.
like, are you fucking retarded?
Yo,
You can breathe through that thing.
We were
so
doing
easily.
handkerchiefs over your face was totally fine. That's what I tell
Yeah.
people. I'm like, you had me with the masks until you said I could pull my shirt over my face.
Yeah.
Because then
Yeah,
it's like, oh wait, there's a deadly chemical spill. Don't worry, I got it. I'll just run
Yeah.
in there real quick. Like, what the fuck
and-
are you talking about?
Dude, you could literally just walk around like this. This be better.
Yeah,
This is better protection than that damn cloth. It is crazy. To me, I'm like, so the virus particle is, I mean, how small is that? It's tiny, right? And if you can breathe, like I remember in the beginning when I noticed that the mask was bullshit, I saw a video on YouTube where there was a doctor who he was vaping and
Yeah.
using different masks. Did you see that one?
yeah, and it just dumps
It
out
was
of the
coming,
thing.
it was coming straight through, and in some of the masks, it blocked it in the front, but then it came like this. It came on the sides.
Yeah,
And he's like, the vape molecules are way bigger than the virus. So how in the yeah, I don't know. It was just we didn't have any mandates, but there was still a lot of people wearing them here. And even my mom, she bought the whole thing, hook, line, and sinker. And she had masks when she went to the subway
mm-hmm.
and she was going to work. And I told her, and I was like, The dude literally said on TV in Sweden, he was like, they don't work.
Yeah.
You know they don't work, right? And she was like, yeah, I know. And it's like, why the fuck are you wearing it? She's like, oh, to make other people
I
feel
was just gonna say
good.
that.
It's like, you're an idiot. If you have COVID, you're gonna give it to them, but they think they're not gonna get it. That's even worse.
Well, because it is worse, and that's actually what Fauci said originally. He's like,
Yeah,
it's theater and it makes it worse because it makes you feel like you're safe and you get closer to people and you stay around them because you feel like you have this level of protection on, but
exactly.
it doesn't really do anything.
Exactly. I still see some people, but it's very rare. But I see once a week, I see some dude in a mask.
I do all the time, but I just I have a
Yeah, but you
joke.
had the mandates and shit.
Yeah, that's
We never
true.
had that.
But we
Yeah,
don't now.
yeah. It's weird to me that you would do that voluntarily, especially now since all the data is out.
That's my point. That's I wanna make a meme where it's you know Clockwork Orange?
Yeah,
You know where he's holding the guy making him watch the stuff?
yeah, yeah,
And
yeah.
everybody uses that. I want to be like me
Oh,
with people and the fucking fact that masks don't work or they're still
yeah.
wearing them.
Yeah,
Oxygen deprivation associated with the onset of dementia.
yeah. See,
If you suspect that a loved one's cognitive abilities are on the decline, it is important to understand the types and causes of dementia in order to find the best treatment. Whether
yeah,
it's from some form of blockages or through chronic exposure to an environment without adequate oxygen, oxygen deprivation in the brain can lead to some forms of dementia, including Alzheimer's disease.
mhm,
Oxygen deprivation, otherwise known as hypoxia, can occur throughout the entire body or exclusively in one section of the body. A complete deprivation of oxygen in the bloodstream is known as anoxia. Cerebral hypoxia, induced through other forms of hypoxia, can cause brain damage, including brain cell death and other forms of mental disorders. But that's
yeah.
not even, it also adds to cancer, brain
That too.
oxygen
Well, yeah, that would
deprivation.
kind of make sense, I guess.
Yes, under oxygen, like well oxygenated oxygen deprivation has been linked to the growth of cancer cells. Cancer cells can adapt to oxygen deprivation by hijacking the oxygen sensing process in the body, which can initiate the formation of a new blood vessels to improve oxygen delivery and change how cancer cells metabolize glucose to make energy, even in
Mm,
the absence of oxygen. Giving cancer cells extra oxygen might shut them down or even kill them, but it is unproven idea. Cancer cells reduce the production of viral proteins during hypoxia, which includes a state of dormancy from which the cancer cells can awaken and start proliferating again, causing the cancer to return.
yeah. But this whole thing, I mean, there's a lot of with the masks. There's a lot of shit that pissed me off, but it's not in Sweden. I saw videos of like kindergartens where they were forcing like 3-year-olds to wear
Yeah.
a mask, and I'm like, if that was my, yeah, I'd be in prison if you did that to my son. That is crazy. Like the kid's literally like pulling it off his face
Yeah.
because he hates it so much, and the teachers are just forcing it on him.
Yeah. And
That's child abuse.
they also don't learn well.
Yeah, I mean,
And
you
there's a
can
lot
get
of
all
things.
kinds of shit
Yeah, you're supposed to
from
be able to.
breathing your own carbon dioxide, right?
Well, that too, yeah. But I mean, even
Yeah,
just let's take that away from it, the oxygen deprivation, all that. They still, you're not getting facial cues. There's a lot of
yeah,
things that you don't get when you have masks on, and that they've shown has been detrimental to kids.
yeah. What you know what pisses me off about this is that because I understand if you're like an old person, very overweight, something like this, and you get scared from the news, I understand you put on a mask, right? What makes me annoyed is like So if someone, and I've touched on this before, I'm sure, if someone tells me I have to do X, burden of proof is on you to show me why and that it actually works.
Yeah.
But people are not like asking. People just do because they're so scared. I understand being scared, but
We're too
ask some
polite.
fucking questions.
No,
Yeah.
that's not even the issue. The issue is that we're too polite as a society.
Yeah.
You know, because even here, like I was telling you with the whole gender queer book thing in the library,
Yeah.
and then my dad's friend that's like pissed about it, he's going to do something, but then his daughter ends up working in the library system, so then he doesn't want to say anything so she doesn't lose her
Yeah.
job. My sister right now is at a job that's salaried, and they have her working like 70 hours a week. And I'm like,
Wait, what? And she only
yeah,
gets paid for like a full time.
yeah. I'm like, screw
That's
them. What
fucked
are
up.
you even doing there? Like, I would be
Yeah.
like, you're giving me overtime or I'm not doing all this. But
Yeah.
she's like one of the worst people for being too polite, doesn't want to make any waves, doesn't want to say anything to anybody and upset the apple cart. So she just goes along with it. And that's most of society.
Yeah. And that's what they did so brilliantly too, is that they made it seem like you're not doing it just for you,
Yeah.
you're doing it for your neighbor, and that's where they fucked us.
Well,
'Cause
that's
it's like if
how.
you don't do it, then you're kind of bad person.
Exactly. You're an asshole.
Yeah.
You're killing grandma. You're killing somebody
Yeah.
else's grandma. You're
Yeah.
don't care about, you know, because I've had arguments during the pandemic where they're like, I said, I don't remember what I said, and somebody's like, it's called wear your fucking mask. And I was like, I didn't even say don't wear your mask. I just said they are taking our, I said, let's say it works, okay? Because I didn't even say
Yeah.
don't wear it. I'm just like, you're taking people's rights. Why is it not my right to wear it or not wear it? Why am I not allowed to go into stores because I'm not obeying, you know, whatever? And they're like, they're
Yeah.
not taking liberty, you know, people's freedoms. And I was like, yeah, they
Freedoms.
are. I'm like, it's gonna start move. This was right in the beginning, actually. And I'm like, it's gonna get worse. Watch. Then all of a sudden, it was like you had to get vaccinated to work.
Yeah.
I'm
And
like,
also, if the masks work, why are we 6 feet distance? If your mask works, why do I have to wear one?
and it's the
The
same
fuck
for
are
the
you saying? So
vaccine.
we need two masks for it to work. We need yours and mine.
Yeah.
So one only covers 50% of the virus, or what? Like, what's the fucking?
Well, masks
It's
and
so crazy.
vaccines. That's what each one of them was supposed to be, so you could save other people, and all of it was
Yeah.
bullshit. None of it saved anybody. The people that were vaccinated were handing out COVID like candies.
Yeah. And I'll tell you this, you'll never meet a person who didn't get the shot who regrets not getting it.
Yeah,
Yeah, but I know a lot of people who got it and wish they didn't.
yeah.
Yeah. Hey, on the masks. I saw a video on this. You know, on what's the no, not TikTok. The
Snapchat?
Snapchat. Yeah, I was gonna say the hat chat. Uh, Snapchat. You know the filters they have.
Yeah.
They have a mask filter, but it's not a pandemic mask like the doctor masks. It's like a cloth thing. But apparently, that filter came out just before the pandemic. So the theory on that was like they were trying to get people used to
Yeah.
seeing that all the time. So that was it's just a weird kind of side note that they had that before the pandemic hit.
Yeah. That is really weird.
Yeah,
lot
but
of this
of
stuff.
course it's a coincidence, of course.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
A lot of this stuff, there's just a lot of coincidences. They're really
Yeah,
good
yeah.
at
Predicting.
It's almost like it's like The Simpsons.
Yeah.
Are they time travelers, or are they like in with the government? Are people telling them what's going on? Like, what exactly?
Yeah.
How have they written so many things that ended up being so spot on?
Yeah, with The Simpsons is even weirder because some of the episodes or years before it
That's
actually
my
happens.
point. They had that
Yeah,
Trump getting elected thing like in the 90s or the like early
yeah.
2000s.
It's like that card game.
Yeah, we need to get
It's
that
like
card game.
years before it happens. That's so weird, man. But then some of the stuff, because you know the January 6th
Yeah.
thing, the guy with the horns, the Viking helmet,
Yeah.
they did that years ago. But and then people say, oh, look, they predicted that too. But he could have seen that episode and just been like, I'm gonna dress like that. So
You heard
some of
they
the stuff is not 100%. But
right.
they did an episode on a pandemic too, where there was. Did you see that one?
Yeah, where he's chasing him around with the needle, the doctor.
Yeah, and Event 201 is in that episode. If you watch it,
Come on.
they have a meeting with like a bunch of high roller people, and they go, "How are we gonna scare the population?"
They do.
Yeah,
But
and they
it's
go,
not
"A
called
virus."
it's not a called event 201, is it?
No, I don't think so. But it
What if
is
they had it?
basically exactly Event 201,
Yeah.
just in Simpson land,
Yeah.
Simpson world. That is weird as fuck. Like how? Yeah, but of course, it's all coincidence.
Yeah.
There's no dimension where that would actually happen.
Unless they have to show you. Did you
See, that's the thing.
have you ever heard of the show called V?
Ah, someone told me about that.
Yeah, it might be V for.
Vendetta.
I don't know if that's what it's called or not, or
V
V
for
for
Vendetta is the movie.
victory. Yeah, it's not the TV show V. Let's see if it comes up. Yup, 1984-85.
Oh, really? What's that about? Is it a
So,
virus?
bro, no. Let me see if I can find the description of it. So we used to watch it. It's fucking crazy, dude.
Yeah.
So you know how here we go. This series features the characters from the two miniseries about aliens coming to Earth claiming to be friends, but in reality have an ulterior motive. The aliens have been beaten in the miniseries, but there is still a lot out there. In the series, Nathan Bates, the industrialist who manufactures the biological weapon that was used to defeat the aliens, wants to get his hand on alien technology so they could profit from it. This does not explain the whole series. So,
You,
oh,
you,
it
you
says
explain it and do your best.
so. The aliens that come are
Mhm.
they look like people, but like so they're doing all this fucking shady stuff, and then the aliens would pull their human faces off, and they're all lizard people, dude.
Oh, it's the real one. Dude, I'm starting to believe that stuff.
To me
Did you see,
too.
did you see the fucking well there's a bunch of weird videos of Biden, like how he, like if you look at him a few years back, his like ears are completely
Yeah.
different,
Oh,
and
dude.
there's shit like that. But then there was a news, someone sent me this. There was a news lady from New Zealand, and I'll find it and send it to you after the show. She's looking into the thing, and she's reading from the prompter, whatever it's called, the
Yeah.
text thing.
Teleprompter.
If you see it, it's like a minute long, and you look at her, I call her Captain Snake Eyes. Her eyes, she literally looks like she's dead,
Mm-hmm.
and her eyes are like reptilian eyes. Like it looks, she doesn't look human. She looks like something different. And she has no expression on her face. It's like she's a robot or something. It's so fucking creepy.
Dude,
It,
I
it,
see stuff all the
yeah.
time where it's like glitches where their heads turn and stuff, and like,
But then I think maybe we're looking for it because we want it to be true, or like I don't know. It's weird, man. David Icke might be right.
So it says a year after Liberation Day, courtesy of the red dust bacteria, the humanoid lizard-like aliens develop a resistance to the microorganism and try to regain control of Earth. Only now some humans are knowingly working with them. So yeah, they look like people, but they're all shady and they're trying to take everything over, and then eventually, like when they get caught, when they get home, they'll pull their human faces off or whatever. And then you
Yeah.
see them, they look like freaky ass fucking. Oh yeah, that's right. I'm watching the trailer right now. They eat mice and shit.
Oh, okay.
That's what they eat. They have like a bunch of mice and then they'll just pull them out and eat them. But
That's hilarious.
it was a great show, but now it's hilarious because everybody's not everybody, but the big conspiracy is that they're alien people, and I'm like,
Lizard people.
lizard
right?
people, yeah. So I'm
Yeah.
like, was this again where they like, hey, we need to let you know this lady's about to eat a gerbil.
Dude, I'll send you another thing too. Have you ever listened to the Richie Allen show?
Mm-mm.
Oh my God, man. You need to listen to Richie Allen. He's from the UK, but he's like one of the biggest radio shows in Europe, I think.
Uh-huh.
And he talks about all this shit. Like there's a lot of conspiracy shit. But he had a guy on who wrote a book on this thing, and he was connecting all the royal families to each other.
Oh
Like
yeah.
they're, yeah, I think I told you about that. But the theory from that, and I think David Icke says it too, or something similar to that, is that they're an alien species. They came from somewhere else.
Hmm.
So he's like kind of proven it with his book or whatever. But that was a super interesting episode when he had him on.
That
It's weird.
I
It's
think
weird to listen to, but it makes sense when he says it.
I think that it's another dimension. I don't think they're flying from like
Yeah,
planets fucking like, you know what I mean, light years
yeah,
away. I think
yeah,
they've just figured out how to manipulate um you know, time, or not even time, because I think those, like, I don't know what to
It's
how
just
to
a different dimension.
yeah,
It's like
exactly. And they
we're
figured
here,
out how to get through the dimension in physical
yeah,
form.
yeah, we're here, they're here, and there's a wall in between, and they can go through it. Like,
Yeah.
yeah,
I think they're probably just advanced mentally and understand that it's there, you know? Because
probably.
I think that, and this is obviously all speculation, I have no idea, but we talk about psychedelics and stuff,
Mhm.
and everybody does, they even call it the DMT realm, because everybody runs
Yeah,
into the same entities. They have the
yeah,
similar experiences. So maybe that's space, you know, like
yeah,
it's just we are so, you know, like other birds and stuff can navigate around. Think about your animal too. It can navigate its way back. It can tell like directions and all that stuff, and birds can tell
yeah,
where they are. And we've lost all that sense. So why wouldn't we
yeah,
think that we've lost the sense or the ability to look into another dimension? And especially that's another reason I think that psychedelics are even kind of vilified, because all of a sudden
yeah,
people will realize a lot of other things, you know, their own power and just how the universe and stuff actually works versus just listening to.
yeah. I'm sure. I'm sure. Isn't that fucking crazy? We have birds in Sweden, and as soon as like October hits, they're like, "Bye,
Yeah,
see ya,"
yeah,
and they fly to fucking Africa to the same tree that they were last year. Like, how do you find your way there? You have no GPS. What
exactly.
the? Yeah, and people here can't even find their way around the city,
Exactly. And even
even though
dolphins
they've
and
been here.
stuff.
Yeah,
You know, a lot of those sea animals, they have sonar and shit, and they can tell which way they're going, and they migrate, and you know, and
yeah,
we're just like need GPS to get to someplace like 45 minutes away.
yeah. And then we're like, oh, we're so advanced. It's the same like with health, right? Like
Yeah.
you said it before. oh, we can change a heart. Yeah, but a real advanced society wouldn't have to, right? Same with like, oh, I have a GPS. Well, you shouldn't need one.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, maybe that's a stupid thing to say. I don't know, but
I don't think, well, I mean, I guess we've been using maps and compasses for a long time. So if we had that ability, we lost it a very long time ago. But
you follow the sun, right? But if you ask someone today,
yeah, exactly.
like if I'm at my house, I know south, north, east, because I know where the sun comes
Yeah,
up and when it goes down. But if I'm somewhere else, I'm like, I have no clue.
yeah.
Like,
You have
you
to
know,
stand there and wait.
yeah, when it goes down, then I'll know. I'll stand there all day, so the next day I can travel.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
Yeah,
You know, and that's, we're just separated from being self-sufficient and working with nature, which I think is ultimately the biggest travesty of humans. You know, like,
yeah,
sure, we've figured out how to manipulate all this stuff, but are we doing it in a way that's really beneficial for anything, them or us, you know? Which I
yeah,
don't think that we are. I think we're just more like ransacking the planet of fucking everything, you know, and just making all this trash and stuff on the surface.
yeah. Yeah, for what? I saw a clip from a podcast where a guy, he looked at the numbers. I don't know how they measure happiness, but he said
Mm.
if you look across the board, the happiest people in the world are farmers.
Yeah,
Yeah, and the most miserable people are like
in cities.
lawyers, people who in suits work in
Yeah.
an office. The
Where
most miserable people ever.
where it's they're most separated from nature,
Mhm.
being outside, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
Anything like that. Their whole, think about it, if you're an accountant or a lawyer,
yeah,
your entire world, other than what you do for fun on your own, is basically artificial. You go
yeah,
from your house to another building and deal with all these, you know what I mean, numbers and
yeah,
bullshit that people made. And whereas, like you said, you know, farmers at least are out in fields, they're outside, they're in the dirt, they're, you know what I mean, dealing with animals. There's doing a bunch of stuff that we used to do a long time ago that we don't realize, but you need to do.
yeah. And I mean, it's not only that, but I would imagine hunters would have the same kind of. It's like a fulfillment thing
Yeah,
when you can provide for your family, not with your credit card, but with shit that you made.
yeah,
Like it's like if you make a table for, like I have a really nice table here. I had a carpenter that I know built it for me. Like it's not from IKEA.
right.
This table is so much nicer to me because I know the guy who made it.
Yeah,
And
yeah,
if I could make this for my family, that would make me feel awesome. Like, yeah, it's weird. We're so disconnected from everything.
yeah. Well, that's even the guy that I work for, right? Is always like, I told you I cut wood so that we heat the
Yeah.
house with the wood most of the time, and
Mhm.
his thing is he's just like, I don't have time to cut wood. And then I say something, I don't have time for that. I wish I had time. And I'm like, you are here at work all day long, every day, so that you can pay someone else to do these things that I'm doing. You can
Yeah,
either go to work and make the money to pay somebody to do these things, or you could be at home chopping wood, doing whatever yourself. And
yeah,
then you've still reached the same end goal or outcome. You've just
yeah,
done it hands on versus paying for it, you know, like it
yeah.
doesn't
Like
make
if
any
if
sense.
you start chopping wood, you could work less. It's just maths, man.
And
Like,
still have a warm house. It's,
yes.
outcome is the same. Your house is warm. You're still spending hours doing things, but now instead of me going someplace and being like, "Oh, I'm here again," I'm just in my backyard chopping
Yeah,
stuff, which I like better. I would much rather be just
of course.
outside in the yard chopping wood. And then also I feel good because I got my workout in and I did something useful
Mhm.
at the same time.
Yeah, that's awesome.
I
I
always,
don't understand why people are so caught up in the thing. It's almost like people. they actually believe that you have to work full time.
Yeah.
And I go, why? Why? Okay, if your employer says, well, if you don't, we're gonna fire you. But then you can look for a different job. Like,
Exactly.
you don't have to. What is this? I should or I have to? No, there's no rules.
That's
You can
our
do whatever you want.
society is
It's
just
your time. Yeah.
yeah, it's just like you have to like I've been laughing about this for a long time. People pay someone to cut their lawn, right? And then they pay a gym to walk on a treadmill. And I'm like,
Yeah.
you could just get a push mower and cut your lawn. And
Yeah.
now you've gotten rid of 2 fucking bills at
Yeah.
once.
Well, I can kind of see it. So there's an example. If, for example, if it takes me 1 hour to cut my lawn and it costs $50 to pay someone to cut it, right?
hmm
If I make more than $50 an hour, if I make $150 an hour, yeah, then it makes sense to
Right.
work, right?
Yep.
So it's like a trade-off there, where it's like, how much do you make, or how much does it cost to do the thing? So I understand it for some people, but for most people, I'd say just do it yourself.
Yeah. Well, it's again, you're in a scenario where you're doing the thing to pay for the other thing. And I get what you're saying.
Yeah.
It makes sense. If you're making so much that it's like not worth your fucking time, I totally get it.
Yeah,
But, if you're scrambling to pay for all this bullshit, it'd be much easier to just do it
do it.
yourself. Yeah, and not have to work overtime and this and that. We had our gray water pipe. So the gray water pipes in the house were from like the 20s or 30s.
What's a gray water pipe?
So it's like your shower and your sink, not your toilet.
Oh, okay. Oh, okay.
So we had clay pipes in the ground.
Oh,
There were
wow.
18-inch section clay pipes, and that was it. And they didn't even have elbows. They just kept like kinking them a little bit, and then walked them
yeah.
all the way around the house. Well, they
It's
cracked.
like a broken circle. Like,
Yeah, exactly.
yeah.
So they cracked, and it was leaking in the yard. I dug up about 18 feet of pipe, like 2 feet deep, myself, and then just cut it out. Got gravel, put the gravel down, and then put the pipe in myself. But and it took me obviously days. But that would have been $3,000 if you had somebody come up, you know what I mean, with a
sure.
machine to do it, and then they would have screwed
Yeah.
up the whole rest of the yard. But it was like, now not only is the thing fixed, but now I feel all good. I'm like, hey, check out the yard. Like I did that myself.
Of course. But I think it's also today that people today don't learn these things.
Right. That's true.
You know?
I was a
There-
plumber out of school for a year, so I get it.
But even if you wasn't, right? If I look at my dad is not the best example because he's not very knowledgeable and stuff like this. But like if you look at older men, right? They used to know a little bit about everything.
Yeah.
Like I know people who've done their own houses. They're not construction workers. They've never been in the business of construction, but they learned how to do the electricity. They learned how to do the pipes. They learned how to drywall, how to do everything.
Yeah.
So they know it enough where it's like it's worth it for me to do it myself. Like kids today can't even change a fucking tire.
Yeah.
That is insane to me.
I
Because
think
you could teach a 5-year-old to change a tire. That's
Yeah.
super easy.
there are still I think there are kids because I work at a shop and we do have younger people come in, but it's
Yeah, but
definitely the proportions are way smaller of people that can handle anything, and it's because of what we were talking about. Everybody's just used to, if your tire goes flat, you call AAA, you call whatever,
Yeah.
you take it someplace. Nobody does anything on their own.
Yeah. Dude, I had a neighbor and he's actually older. This is hilarious. He moved now, but he used to live just next door to me. Dude, the chain on his bicycle popped out.
Uh-huh.
And I'm coming home and he's like, hey, I was like, what are you doing? He's like, oh, I'm fixing the bike. Or, well, I'm trying. I was like, what do you mean you're trying? The chain popped. Like, what? What do you mean? Like, he's like, well, I don't really know how to do it. And he was trying to like pull it, and he was just fucking it up even worse.
Uh-huh.
And I was like, dude, can you not see you have two screws that are like holding the thing together? You have to release them to get around it. And then it was two screws and a screwdriver. Like that's all you need. And he was like, oh, do you have a screwdriver I can borrow? I was like, you're 45 at least. That is insane. Like, not to say you have to know all these things, but wouldn't it be easier for if you just knew it?
His whole
Like,
life has been, like we said, probably just going to work and having things taken care of. The other issue is that people don't have a lot of common sense anymore. They're very good at what they're told,
yeah,
and they're very good at retaining
yeah,
information and then regurgitating it and using it.
yeah,
And that's it.
yeah,
And if it's not something that they've been told or taught, they're just like at a loss for it.
yeah.
The
Yeah, common sense
interesting,
is not so common
no,
anymore. It's weird. People don't ask questions. That's the thing.
it's weird that now being the type of person that could look at a lawnmower and take it apart and fix it means you're dumb because you're probably not good at math
Yeah,
or English. Like that's,
yeah,
I had a joke about that where it's like, people, if you're a mechanic, they're like, oh, he's just a fucking mechanic, or a plumber or whatever.
yeah,
But it's like 200 years ago or 100 years ago when cars came out, they're like, oh man, I got this fandangled car. Well, what happens if it breaks? Fucking George down the street is a fucking genius. He will take this thing
yeah,
apart and put it back together. And they're like, oh my God, mind
yeah.
blown. And now it's like, you're some loser car mechanic.
But it's funny because you're a loser until they need you, right?
Yeah,
When they
exactly.
need you, you're not so bad. But and also, so that's a good example, actually. Like a lawnmower. I don't know shit about lawnmowers, and I actually don't know much about engines at all.
Hmm.
Like I kind of know a little bit, but I wouldn't say I'm confident. But if my lawnmower breaks, especially today, if I pick it apart and I take my iPhone and I take pictures along the way
Yeah.
to know where everything went, you can just do that and put it back exactly how it was. It,
Yeah.
anyone can do that, literally. If you just have the tools you need to do it,
Well, and
you can
even
literally do it.
now, you can go on YouTube and watch somebody probably take apart and put together the exact thing that
Yeah,
you're working on.
yeah,
I do it at the shop all the time. I'm like, where the hell is the oil drain on this thing? And I'm like searching
yeah,
everywhere. And then you watch and it's like, oh, it's hidden behind whatever. But there's literally videos of working on everything that you could imagine online. And you can watch somebody actually do it right in front of you and show you where
yeah,
everything is. Like there's almost
yeah,
no reason to be lost like that anymore.
yeah. Yeah, and that goes for almost everything. I don't like it when people go like, well, I don't know how to do it. Okay, did you Google it?
Yeah,
Idiot. There's like step-by-step instructions for almost fucking everything on this planet.
everything.
Like you can become a cow herder in a week.
Yeah,
Like, you could do anything really.
yeah.
And people are like, I don't know how to do it. Google it. What is that?
Because they don't have
Fucking
time because they got to go to work for 27 hours a day.
yeah, exactly. I gotta get to my office. It has good air conditioning.
Yeah,
It's really
exactly.
nice in there.
Yeah.
I like it better than my own house. That's why I spend so much time
I know
there.
that's the fucking hilarious thing to me, right? Like, we get these places and then we just go spend 90% of our time someplace else that's not as fun. We're
Yeah,
like,
yeah. But I work with Jim. Jim is kind of funny sometimes.
yeah.
It's like
Well,
doesn't make sense.
I work here
And
all day so I can afford the place that I don't go to all day. I
yeah,
just go to
yeah,
and shower and sleep.
yeah. Like if you're single and if that's your life, you should literally just sell the house and put a mattress in your office.
Yeah.
What's the fucking point? Like, if you never use your house, then what's it for?
Yeah.
Yeah,
You need to get
it's
a
crazy.
van and live down
It's
by the
crazy.
river.
Yeah.
All right, Rasmus, I think we did a
All right.
good once over on event 201 and we got everybody ready for Sears.
Yes, you heard it here first. Don't forget.
Yeah, forget where we got the video from. You heard it from
Yeah,
us first.
exactly. It was our information. And also remember though, if it happens,
Just a coincidence.
99.99999% chance it's a coincidence. Almost certainly it's a coincidence.
If it happens exactly the way it's explained, it's basically just like The Simpsons. Just, oops. I mean, we didn't even realize that.
Yes, it is.
Just an accident.
Yeah.
All right,
Awesome, guys.
everybody.
All right. Thanks for today. We'll see you next week.
Later. Sorry that it wasn't live to the people that like to watch live. I don't know what happened. I'll fix it for next time. Later.
Yeah.